Hey y'all, I'm Alec from Sharing the Journey. Cindy and I have been on the road now. May 10th will be 5 years. It's hard to believe. Well, yesterday somebody at the campground stopped me and said, "Can I ask, are you one of those work campers?" And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "And this is the only job you have?" And I said, "Yeah, we just travel the country, move every 3 to 6 months and do the campground circuit, so to speak." He goes, "Well, you're awful young to be retired. Can I ask you what made you do this?" And I said to myself, this might be a good YouTube video story. So I'll tell y'all how we ended up being on the road at our age. To start, I retired from the police department at age 50. We had 6 nearly grown children, and my wife and I started a PI business in Columbia, South Carolina called Sharp Investigations, and it was very successful. We were finally making some money. 26 years of law enforcement. We just barely got by. Cindy stayed home. She was a stay-at-home mother. She homeschooled our kids. I took care of 9 dependents on a police salary, the 6 children, my wife and I, and my wife's mother, who lived with us at the time, well, at least for the last 8.5 years of her life. And I worked 3 jobs to scrape enough by to keep a roof over our house, car to drive, and food in our stomachs. So when I retired, we started our PI business, and we're doing quite well. I think by the 2nd year, or maybe the 3rd year, we had grown it to a $600,000 a year business. And I was finally getting some money in the bank. We weren't worrying about our pennies. And the only sacrifice we had to make is I worked more than I did when I was at the police department. But at least I had Cindy working with me. Any of y'all that know me from my prior life knows that we've talked about full-time RVing since the 90s, since the kids were little, since we were at Myrtle Beach and we met our first full-time family at Pirate Land Campground. Skip forward from Pirate Land to 2018, late 2018, we had finally bought our first motorhome. It was a little Class C, a Forester, and we decided to start stepping away from the business. At that time, I had 2 of my sons working, one full-time, one part-time at the company, and I had a daughter working full-time at the company. And so we knew we were going to eventually go full-time, and so we wanted to start taking some longer trips, let the kids run the business while we were gone and just see how they did. One of our trips was late 2014. We went up to spend 10 days up in Greer, South Carolina, which is near where Cindy's brother lives. We would spend some time with her side of the family, her sister-in-law, and we could do Hendersonville, DuPont National Forest, Greenville, Spartanburg, Travelers Rest, that whole area. We had a big plan. So we're sitting out at the back deck of the office, overlooking a stream, and we're out there and we see 2 KOA work campers come out. Younger couple, they were in their early 50s, and I asked them the same question that was asked of me yesterday. "Wow, you're awful young. How did you get started?" The wife spoke up first and she said, "Well, I'll tell you a story." She said, I'm a twin. My sister and I both worked at the same school up north. I think it was Connecticut, I'm not sure. And we actually had classrooms. We were both teachers. We had classrooms across from each other. She said, "One day my sister didn't show up for work. I became very concerned, went to the principal. The principal was concerned, and they sent the school resource officer to my sister's house. She lived alone, no boyfriend or anything that stayed with her, and the lady told me, she said they found her sister dead at age 52, died in her sleep, it appeared, and it made her think life is too short. Tomorrow is not promised. And so her and her husband decided to chase their dreams. He owned a bakery. They sold the bakery. She retired early from teaching, and they hit the road to discover America. That made Cindy and I really think, you know, here we are, about the same age. We're 52, 53 at this point. And tomorrow is not promised. You know, all the money in the world will not make you happy. We were making good money. Just finally had money in the bank. Didn't have to worry about our next meal. But tomorrow is not promised. So we started talking. We went home, talked to the kids and said, you know, we have always talked about full timing. We were going to wait till we were 62, take our Social Security, I'd have my small police pension. We'd have money in the bank from the business. And then we would hit the road. There's no promise we'll make it to 62. So we started our plan, 1-year plan. We were going to turn the business over to the kids. We were going to get our finances in order, fix up the house, sell it, and hit the road. Fast forward to January, I think it was January 2015. We go down to Hilton Head Island. My parents live down in Savannah. My sister lives, I think at that time in Rincon. My dad was general manager, Palmetto Dunes, on the island at the time, or had just retired. I forget exactly, but we went down there so we'd be close to them and could spend, you know, a week with them. And we rented a place, or a campsite at Hilton Head Harbor. Both Hilton Head Harbor and Travelers Rest KOA, I have reviews of the campgrounds in my playlist if you want to go back and see them. Those are the 2 campgrounds we were at. So one afternoon I'm out walking the dogs, and I walk down to the pier, and there's this old man in his 70s fishing on the pier. And I noticed he kept looking back at a camper up in the campground. And I asked him, I said, is everything okay? He said, yeah. He says, I'm just worried. He said, my son's here. He says, my wife has got dementia. She's in the camper and trying to enjoy fishing, but I'm just worried that my son can't handle his mother. And I said, oh, are y'all full-timers? He said, no, we never got to be. Then he told me this story. He said they had worked all their lives and saved, decided to wait until they were 67 so they could get their full Social Security to hit the road. And they were going to sell everything. They had already bought a motorhome. It was a beautiful motorhome. I think it was one of those big diesel pushers, not a gasser like mine. And it was big. I think it was one of those, had 2 rear axles. It was a very nice motorhome. He said, but my wife came down with dementia. And now she doesn't even recognize who I am. And we live up in Bluffton. Once a month, I bring the RV down here to Hilton Head, which is like a 15, 20-minute drive. My children come down and sit with their mother so I can enjoy some time fishing in the Intercoastal Waterway. Tomorrow is not promised. I went back and told Cindy the story, and she said, well, that's it. She said, we're going to live our dream. We went home, We told the children. We started getting ready for full time. We put the house on the market in April. It sold twice within 1 week. The second one stuck. We closed May 10th, 2019, and drove out of our driveway. Yes, we go home to see the kids. We talk to them on the phone. We go to Savannah, well now Bluffton, to see my parents. We're still very involved with our family. A lot of it's on Skype or video chat or whatever it's called on Cindy's phone. I don't have it on this phone. And we've never looked back. We're having the time of our life. Am I still having to work? Yes. Because I didn't wait till we were 62. I didn't wait till our finances were in order. I didn't wait because the Bible says tomorrow is not promised. We don't regret our decision. Cindy and I are closer now than we've ever been because of this journey. I ask you to like the video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you want to see how the journey turns out. We're going to keep on moving down the road. Hopefully we'll see you in a campground soon. Bye.